Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, we've been reporting on this little rumor that's been growing across the media for the last couple of weeks, well, actually for the last couple of months, that Brian Stelter's days at CNN are numbered. He's next on the chopping block. I mean, Brian Stelter's claim to fame was essentially being Jeff Zucker's little gopher, I guess you could say. And now with Jeff Zucker gone, the corruption exposed, his reputation shattered. Well, it seems as though Brian Stelter is next on the list. We've heard the rumors with the new ownership group coming in. Apparently, they're not too excited with Brian Stelter. Apparently, a couple members that are part of the ownership group or the board for Discovery that's currently in the process of buying CNN have some very, very choice words for Brian Stelter, and that is putting it very nicely. There's a new report from inside sources that give us access to the full quotes and everything that's being said about Brian Stelter behind the scene. And folks, it's not looking good. It's looking like Brian Stelter, little Bri Stelter, is going to be looking for a new job very soon. Although, let's be completely honest, he's probably going to get hired at MSNBC in a heartbeat, frankly. MSNBC is a better fit for him anyways, being the left-wing hack masquerading as a journalist that he is. But of course, let me show you guys everything that's going on. Trust me when I tell you it is spicy. But of course, before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so take a look at this piece right over here from the Conservative Brief. Grab the popcorn. Brian Stelter's days at CNN are reportedly numbered. CNN host Brian Stelter's days at the left-leaning network are reportedly numbered. According to independent journalist John Nicosia, sources told him that management is fed up with Stelter. Nicosia writes on Twitter, sources, Brian Stelter's days are numbered with the network. Discovery management very much considers him a Zucker henchman and an embarrassment, and believes he is a, quote, negative partisan lightning rod and distraction going forward. More to come. Oh, it's not looking good for Jeff Zucker's little henchman, Jeff Zucker's little gopher. I guess the writing was on the wall. I guess Michael Wolff was right after all. Last week, Nicosia reported that the head of Discovery, CNN's new incoming parent company, John Malone, apparently is not a fan of Stelter or his show. Here's another source from Nicosia. At a recent informal Discovery board meeting, largest shareholder, John Malone, referred to CNN Brian Stelter as, quote, a cancer and a Zucker henchman that has a failing show. I mean, that sounds like something Donald Trump would say. Keep your eye on the media personalities that come to his defense. We'll show you all you need to know about the state of the broken media. In March, Nicosia also reported that CNN was set to face major changes with new ownership. He said that the executives at Discovery, which is merging with CNN, want to steer away from the hosts expressing a partisan viewpoint. Source, John Malone, Discovery's board member, will play a huge role in the news organization's plans to return CNN to its news channel roots and dismantle the partisan organization Zucker shifted into. They continue, this will mean a large realignment of staff. Source update, Malone is using CNN's coverage of Ukraine as an example of the news network he wants back. Excellent journalists covering events without partisan peacocking. This, quote, realignment will start with CNN anchors. One, who was very close with Zucker and will have a hard time transitioning away from opinion, will be out by the end of spring. Well, folks, if that prediction is correct, well, we're basically in the middle of spring. I mean, it's going to be summer pretty soon. And so it's possible that we see little Bri Stelter gone pretty soon. And even beyond that, a total shakeup of the network. I mean, if CNN is to return to its roots, I mean, who's going to be left? Name a single CNN anchor who's not a partisan left-wing bias hack. It doesn't exist. The only one who's sometimes fair, and only sometimes, is Jake Tapper, and that sometimes maybe represents like 5% of the time. The entire network has become a running joke, and it is in complete shambles. Speaking of in shambles, Chris Wallace leaves Fox News, shows up at CNN expecting to be the guy, the next big thing, gets a show secured on CNN Plus. CNN Plus spends $300 million in advertising ahead of their launch, and the whole project craters into the ground with only 10,000 daily users. And now apparently Chris Wallace is losing his mind. Chris Wallace is furious with CNN and threatening to leave. More reporting from John Nicosia. Source, Chris Wallace is, quote, having daily breakdowns over the miserable launch of CNN Plus. Wants a CNN show or is threatening to walk, they go on. He is having staffers count how many times a day his promo is playing. This man literally literally left the most booming network on the planet, Fox News. I mean, warts and all, faults and all, you're still at Fox to join the sinking ship that is CNN. Although to be completely honest, Discovery is probably going to keep Chris Wallace. But apparently more reports are indicating that Chris Wallace has been threatening to leave unless he gets Chris Cuomo's primetime slot, and they've been refusing to give it to him. And poor little Chris Wallace is stuck at CNN Plus with a failing show on a failing platform. We also have this: collapse of CNN Plus continues after Warner Brothers reportedly cuts marketing spending. We have the final numbers. A report in Axios detailed the collapse of CNN Plus, the premium news subscription service headlined by former longtime Fox News anchor Chris Wallace. The report said that Warner Bros. Discovery had pulled external marketing spending for the service, according to 5 separate sources. They also reportedly cut CNN's longtime chief financial officer over the debacle. The report said that the CNN executives believe the launch of the premium service was a success, but those at Warner Bros. Disagreed with that assessment. Here are the actual numbers. CNN Plus has garnered only 150,000 subscribers, while a previous report claimed the service only saw 10,000 viewers on a daily basis, falling far short of expectations. CNN Plus executives reportedly hope to see 2 million subscribers in the first year and as many as 15 to 18 million over 4 years. The goal was 2 million paid subscribers in the first year, and with $300 million in marketing, they got a measly 150,000 subscribers. Is that a surprise whatsoever with Chris Wallace as the headliner? Definitely not. And that's really the thing when it comes to CNN, and that's the problem. Even these long-time media establishment journalists who pretend as if they're somehow moderate or middle or neutral, it's all really just an act. It's an act of neutrality as the moderate, fact-based journalist, when really we know it isn't. I mean, Jake Tapper's the perfect example. And that's a problem that Discovery is going to have to encounter when trying to clean house at CNN. The corruption runs deep. Here's actually a great example that happened on Twitter the other day. CNN's White House correspondent gets hammered over column claiming Biden is powerless to help Americans. He wrote this op-ed for CNN. Biden confronts a host of problems he can't do much to solve. From John Harwood at CNN, a real neutral guy. But how is that neutral journalism? I mean, he got absolutely smoked on Twitter. CNN's White House correspondent wrote a column stating as a fact that President Biden can't do anything about crime, inflation, or the border. All areas the admin has tons of power. Isn't this a big part of why the media is losing trust? I mean, obvious bias. Maybe he shouldn't have spent a year telling everyone he would fix everything if he knew that he couldn't. Seriously, was Harwood always a hack? Because I don't recall him always being like this. And even the stuff that's presented as honest journalism is always biased, sometimes in sneaky ways. Oh, Biden just can't do anything. Poor old Biden. Even though they control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. A complete farce. Then there's also this one. CNN's Chris Cillizza identifies the sneaky big issue of the 2022 election and gets slammed with mockery and ridicule. Chris Cillizza, again another guy who tries to market himself as a journalist with real integrity. He put this out on his Twitter feed. This could be the new sneaky big issue of the 2022 election. And what do you think he's talking about? The border. The border is a new sneaky big issue. It's basically been at the forefront as a staple political issue since 2015, since Donald Trump's initial campaign and bid for the White House. CNN is corrupt from top to bottom. The entire body has been infected. And I don't know if firing Brian Stelter and Don Lemon and maybe a couple other clowns that are clear offenders is going to do enough. I mean, maybe it's going to send a message to the rest of the network that, hey, this stuff doesn't work anymore. This totally biased outrage peddling that we've been feeding the American people since Donald Trump ran for the presidency. Maybe it's going to have an effect, but I don't know. This is a very deep-rooted issue within the network itself. I just don't know if this thing is redeemable. Of course, we'll have to see exactly what Discovery is planning here, but it seems as though there are some major shakeups right around the corner as the Discovery ownership group starts to take over the network. I have my doubts. I mean, I guess we'll just have to see. All I know is one thing, and that's Brian Stelter being removed from his position is just going to be a good thing, frankly, for the world. That's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.